YTBC, what's the deal? Let me give a shout out to uploader Mac G12, and he asked my opinion on heavyweight prospect Nick Asberry from Waukegan, Illinois. I went on YouTube. He's 8-0 with 4 knockouts as a pro. 25 years old, 6'5", 240 pounds. Like I was saying, I went on YouTube, tried to look up all of his fights. I was only able to find, let's see here, 1, 2, 3 of his fights, his pro fights, and 2 clips of Chicago Golden Gloves footage, and 2 clips of him shadowboxing. And then I was getting to listen to an interview here on YouTube. Going to leave this interview in the description box. What YouTube page is this? The Next Round. They did an exclusive interview with Nick the Terror Asberry. Well, from what I've heard, in the interview, he says he does a lot of, yoga, and he has a nutritionist and Navy SEALs trainings, and he just started fighting, 5 years ago, which is pretty impressive. He's in shape, man. The dude is pretty in shape. He's not a fat guy. He's pretty muscular. He's pretty in shape. Fast hands, good jab. There is something there to work with. He has already in his young career. Well, first of all, at amateurs, when he started, he was 43 wins and 8 losses in the amateur ranks. He says that he likes to watch old fights like Charles Burley, Jersey Joe Wolcott, Ricardo Lopez, Wilfredo Gomez, Holmes, Foreman. He likes to watch old fighters, old fights. He's learning the history. He said he got inspired from the sport, really, though, watching a 24/7 episode of Mayweather Hatton. And then he says watching Mike Tyson Greatest Knockout. So those were the 2 things that got him inspired. So that's a good thing. He's not one of these guys that come into the sport and don't know anything, don't even want to learn the history, don't know who the old fighters are. So I'm glad that he's, has an appreciation for older fighters and fight footage and likes to go to those fights and watch them. There's one guy whose fight footage he really needs to watch. And I don't know why some of these big guys are not watching this dude's footage. I don't know why some of these guys aren't hiring him for camp, some of these big guys. Maybe they tried. I don't know. But Riddick Bowe is a big guy who was one of the best inside fighters for a big 6'5" guy. He's one of the best inside fighters as far as heavyweight, in my opinion, at least since the 90s. At the very least since the 90s. Nick Asberry, in the, who was he fighting? What was this guy's name? Ricardo Chavez. Chavez was 4-0. From what I heard, he was a decent amateur himself before turning pro. But, in that fight, from the clip that I seen, Asberry, he got a little winded in that fight. But I liked what I saw in that fight because he was sitting down on his punches. The fight against, what was the guy's name? Craig Lewis. He wasn't sitting down on his shots in that fight. He was like peppering them with shots, like peppering them with the jab and then peppering with the right hand. He was using his quickness, and that's cool because he was showing the ability to do that. And after that fight, Asberry has some personality, because after that fight, he was cursing on the mic when they interviewed him, and he has some personality. But in that fight, though, he was peppering the guy. He wasn't really sitting down. I'm sitting there. That was the first fight I watched. I'm like, man, why is he this big and strong? The guy in front of him was out of shape. Like, why is he showing him all this respect? Like, sit down on those fucking right hands and laying that 240 pounds behind it, man. Why are you just sticking to peppering this guy when you could be landing big, hard shots? But he's versatile. He shows he can box and he can sit down on his shots. But he got winded when he did sit down on his shots, the fight I seen. Then I seen him fight Lau McDowell. That fight is on YouTube. He landed a straight right hand and he went down. Actually, it wasn't even the whole fight. It was just a clip of the straight right hand. Then the guy went down. So he does have power. The Golden Gloves footage I seen, he fought a guy named Ryan Gibson. And then that little clip, Asberry showed pretty good defense, pretty good technique going on his back foot, dodging and getting and slipping out of the way of punches. Then the other clip was a guy named Mike Peterson that he knocked down with a straight right hand. So just watching these clips, and from what I've seen, he has a good straight right hand. He has a pretty good jab. He has tools. He has something to work with. He has been in the Brian Jennings camp, getting Jennings ready for Klitschko. And he was also in the Tyson Fury camp, getting him ready for Klitschko. So he's been in some good camps. He's only been fighting for 5 years total. Not pro for 5 years, just 5 years total. You know what I mean? So I like what I see thus far. He does have something there, something to work with. I tried to look, on BoxRec to see where they had him as far as American heavyweights, because I know he's not rated highly in the world. They have him number 40 at American heavyweights. If you look at 36, they have Trey Lippy Morrison, who I did a video on yesterday. Dominick Guinn is 34. Curtis Harper's number 32. Curtis Harper's number 32, who was just in that fight with Chris Arreola, gave Arreola all that he wanted. Gorilla Green, Aaron Green from Minnesota. He's 31. So some of those fights would be good fights if they choose to go that way, but they're going to build them up, and I want to see more of them. I think there's things there to work on. Right now, he's fighting all 4-rounders. He has one 6-rounder against Lyle McDowell, so they're slowly moving him up. He's only been fighting for 5 years, so he's still learning, man. Right now, he's getting by probably just on athletic ability, and he knows how to fight too, but athletic ability and being young and strong. Let's see when he gets a little seasoned, a little more savvy, and get in there with some savvier guys. And he has to learn how to move his head, because he was getting caught by Ricardo. Was it the Chavez fight? He was getting caught by overhand lefts, man. He just kept getting caught with hooks and overhand shots, because he's standing straight up, and he stands straight up. He has a tendency to do that sometime. So he has to be either all the way out of punching range, but when he's medium range, he's getting hit with hooks, man. So he's a good prospect. He's a good prospect. Keep an eye up on him. But Nick Asberry, I think he's a good prospect. YTBC, I'm out.